He- Hello, welcome to this quick update just to review some more information about the storms in spots of the US and Canada and some winds and everything. So we already have some storms spots of central Canada and in the US because of this cold front. So the severe weather chances for today got a little bit higher in New Mexico and Texas, a slight risk there, mainly for wind and hail. There's this marginal risk around it from Texas to Colorado, and this big marginal risk from Texas to Michigan. And there's like a 2% tornado threat in Texas to New Mexico. There's some wind too, like 15% and 5%, and also 5% in the big margin risk. So be careful those wind gusts, and there's hail 15% Texas and New Mexico, and also the 5%. So isolated severe thunderstorms possible later this afternoon into the evening across parts of central, southern high plains. Hail and wind are the primary concerns. Locally damaging winds may accompany convection that develops from the lower Great Lakes into eastern Texas. So yeah, stay safe in those areas. Be careful. There's this area, the Atlantic, that's just 0% now because it's not expected to be tropical nor subtropical, just like sort of extra tropical low pressure as it goes very close to the coast. So nothing there, but this will still bring a flash flooding threat spots of South Carolina into North Carolina. So we do have a slight risk of excessive rainfall today in South Carolina. So be careful in those areas. There's this marginal risk across the southeast, and also this light risk across Missouri and all the way to Indiana. So be careful in those areas there. And there was flooding in Kansas yesterday, so I recommend you be careful in this light risk. And there's this marginal too, it goes all the way to Texas. There's this light risk in the four corners spots of the southwest as well, so be careful some flash flooding and this marginal. So day two shows a slight risk again from Texas to Kansas, a marginal risk on the east coast, and this bigger marginal risk from California to New York, literally. There's day three, a slight risk in Oklahoma, day four still in Arkansas and Oklahoma, and day five just a marginal risk in the south. So stay safe in those areas. Precipitation does show day 1 through 7, more than 3 inches spots of Texas, Oklahoma, into Mississippi, Alabama, but especially near North and South Carolina, close to 4 or even 5 inches in a spot or two there. So be careful in those areas, and yeah, be aware. There's some hazards here to watch as well, like some heavy rain, the green, some severe weather, and hazardous heat spots of the south and the northwest, day 3 through 7. So be careful. There's this area in the Eastern Pacific. It's some 80% chance of development there in the Eastern Pacific with a tropical wave located a few hundred miles offshore of the southern coast of Mexico. Environmental conditions are expected to be conducted for gradual development of the system, and a tropical depression likely form over the weekend as it moves generally westward to west northwestward 10 miles per hour. So 10% chance next 2 days and 80% next 7 days. So be aware in those areas. It's not expected to hit land or anything now, but we better keep watching. So in Canada, let's see some things very fast. There's like, if I can find it here, the different models. So this is the ocean currents. So wait, some wind gusts good. So the European model. So central Canada is still breezy at times, spots central Canada, and also eastern Canada, some higher gusts because of that cold front. But this goes, the winds die down a little bit, and then the show by Thursday into Friday, spots of the west slightly windier again. Friday this goes, shows spots of British Columbia, some higher gusts, So be aware into southern Yukon Friday into Saturday, especially Friday night into Saturday morning, those areas. So be aware. Then this coast in the Europeans are showing some high winds central to southern Canada by Saturday and Sunday, potentially reaching into the northern US as well. So be aware in those areas Sunday to Monday, and then we'll keep watching later. So here's the HER for those storms there. Shows like Texas and those areas storms will be ongoing in New Mexico. So this goes, and then into northern Texas, those higher chances for hail, damage winds. So be careful. I think or two in southeastern Texas as well, northern Mexico. So be aware. And those storms from eastern Texas and all the way to Michigan, there you can see a few stronger storms. Then this goes there in eastern Canada too, and still shows Thursday a few spots of eastern Quebec into New Brunswick, and a storm or two in the northeastern US into Maine, New England as well. So keep watching. There's this low pressure in the Carolinas. You can see here some heavy rain, like this already Thursday until Friday, and maybe even later. By Thursday afternoon, you can see in the plains there in Kansas showing some stronger storms starting by like Thursday afternoon and evening, a few spots there as well, and into Texas too. So this shows here like day 2, because I only showed you day 1. Day 2 still shows this light risk: Texas to Kansas, Oklahoma, New Mexico, Colorado. So there's 5% tornado threat already in Texas, Oklahoma, and to Kansas already, and 2%. So the tornado threat might be more elevated with those storms tomorrow. So be careful in those areas. Scared severe thunderstorms are anticipated, mainly from the late afternoon Thursday into Thursday night from the southern high plains across southern Kansas and Oklahoma. A few tornadoes, large to very large hail, and severe wind as possible. So wind 15% and 5%. The risk extends as far north as Maine and into Canada. I'll show you some maps for Canada now. So there's hail and hatched northern Texas into Oklahoma and Kansas and Colorado, especially Kansas, Colorado, Oklahoma, some very large hail. So stay safe even to the northeast. And here, if I have the map for Canada today, there are some severe storms possible southern Ontario and a few spots into Quebec as well, and just thunderstorms possible in the yellow there. So be careful. This is now Wednesday in those areas, and tomorrow Thursday still some severe storms possible southeastern Quebec into New Brunswick and far eastern Quebec there. So be careful in those areas, those storms there. And then this goes, and also tomorrow Thursday a few storms in southern Ontario, a storm or two still. And then in Western Canada, does show Thursday afternoon a storm or two possible in southern Saskatchewan into southern Manitoba and Alberta. So be aware in those areas, but nothing too crazy. And day 3 in the US might be kind of bigger, so does show this light risk from Colorado to Tennessee and extending to parts of the Midwest and to Texas, Oklahoma, in those areas. So there's 5-15% probabilistic, nothing too crazy, but better watch. Scared severe thunderstorms expected from the southern high plains to Tennessee, lower Ohio valleys Friday into Friday night. So be aware in those areas Friday there. And then Saturday, we still have a weird day Saturday. There's this big 15%, goes all the way from the Oklahoma Panhandle all the way to North Carolina. So be careful in those areas Saturday as well. Sunday and the rest of the day, still nothing. But be careful. And they say generally it's a kind of low probability severe potential, not so great, but they do mention a couple of MCSs possible Saturday within those regions that might cause those severe storms. So be careful in those areas, because as they say, an ongoing MCS, remnant downstream MCS, is anticipated on day 4 Saturday for broad belt damage wind potential evident. So be aware Saturday as well. And yeah, stay safe. Here there's the European model for tropical storm probability. So there's the Eastern Pacific there, shows some higher probabilities this storm forming now. And you can see even some green in the edge of the screen. This goes and layered into into mid-June shows in the Gulf like 10% probability. This is very low, but just worth to watch. So this goes, there's like tropical depression probabilities, and as we go into June, does show a small 30% there in the southwesternmost Gulf, and even like 60% on the eastern Pacific in Mexico. So we'll keep watching this, but better just watch those areas there. So stay safe, be careful the smoke from those fires. Still a lot of smoke and hazy skies, and that haziness might even bring the storms down a little bit, but be careful, the air quality is still. Later this weekend, a potential cold front further in eastern Canada, in western Canada actually, might help with the wildfires, because 4 days here does show some rain across those areas, so that might help. But yeah, stay safe in those areas. Does show here like where's rain again. So back in Central America, a few spots in Nicaragua next 4 days, more than 50 to 80 millimeters. In the Caribbean side, shows more in Mexico, some more storms, so still storms in those areas. Be careful. In 8 days shows even more than 100 millimeters, and even more than that spots of Central America. So we'll keep watching, but stay safe. The Eastern Caribbean 4 days doesn't show anything too big. Just a few thunderstorms, some showers still. So be aware. Some other spots, the Caribbean there. And just a quick talk for temperatures. Still shows northern Mexico and those areas close to 40 degrees Celsius. In Texas, they have those extreme heat hazards there in the hazards map, with possible close to like 100 Fahrenheit, even to 104 or something. So still be careful. Those are southwestern US, still shows more than 90s Fahrenheit. This goes, and still some nights colder in the mountains, especially in the Rockies, some 20s there, 30s Fahrenheit. But Texas, California, and Arizona are the hottest spots, more than 90s, close to 100s. Might be some low hundreds in those areas. And northern Mexico, northwestern Mexico, more than 40 degrees Celsius as well. So stay safe, northeastern Mexico until Friday, Saturday. In the mountains, does drop central Mexico into Guatemala in the mountains, and even in Colorado, Saturdays some 20s there, 30s Fahrenheit, but still very hot in the south. So stay safe in those areas. Still cold northwestern Canada into Alaska, and but much warmer in eastern Canada. So Wednesday now still shows these warm temperatures in eastern Canada. It was even close to 30 degrees in a spot or two, but some higher 20s. But then this front comes and a little bit less hot, but still kind of mild. But some cold still northeasternmost Canada. So be careful in those areas. There's snow here if I can find it, because I don't know what's happening to me, but here, good. So shows still like 4 days in Alaska, Yukon, British Columbia, a few spots of northern Nunavut, and still in Colorado, a thing or two in the Rockies, the European shows, even northern Utah, Wyoming, possibly snow, a thing or two, but still northern Quebec into Labrador. But be aware in those areas, especially like northwestern part of North America, and stay safe, be aware. Let's just see if there's dust. Dust is a big topic. Good thing I didn't forget. So there's still this dust plume in the Atlantic. So now it's Wednesday. A lot of dust in Florida, the Bahamas. There might be some dirty rain, like rain, a little bit of dust might stick into surfaces. So be aware in those areas. Some lower quality, good sunsets, but hazy skies. So be careful, this goes more dust until Friday, Saturday, spots of the Caribbean, and again into the Eastern Caribbean, possibly. So be careful in those areas and stay safe. Let's just see a future look of the storms here, so you can get the idea more. So Friday is like day 3, shows those storms in the plains, a few spots there. And then Saturday's day 4 still shows some storms, those areas in the 15%. The European model still has some rain in the northeast and a few storms. But yeah, we'll keep watching, because the European still has some storms on Sunday in the southeast and that front into Canada. So we'll keep watching.